What's up, YouTube? Let me get my face up here. What's up, YouTube? My name is Bill. Welcome to the show. This is KO Bets. It's a UFC pick and prediction show. We go through all the fights that are on tomorrow, and I give my picks, predictions for each fight, try and give you some sound betting advice. The goal is to make money and not lose any money. If you're tuning in for NFT update, we're at 38 subscribers. I think, yeah, we're still at 38. Once we hit 50, I'm going to hand out a UFC strike moment to just a random subscriber to the channel. So if you wouldn't mind, subscribe to the channel. I'm dealing with, I haven't gotten my ring light in. It just looks like I have bags when I keep that light low. So I'm going to keep it up a little bit because it just looks a little better. Last week, crazy week. I mean, just incredible value. Corey McKenna, win. Cha-ching. Terrence McKinney, cha-ching. Brian Battle, what a crazy knockout, right? 10 fights, 10 finishes. Sam Alvey. I like Sam. But, yeah, you just can't lose, like, 10 fights in a row. Sergey Spivak. Cha-ching. Muhammad Usman. Luque, that was tough, but then Jamal Hill. Cha-ching. Incredible week. We've got fights to review this week, couple fights from last week, so if you see me flipping back and forth in my notebook here, it's because Lipsky and some other guys are fighting. They wouldn't sanction the fight in Vegas because one of them had PEDs, but San Diego, it's cool. All right, let's get into the fights. We got fights to review. On the show tonight, we're going to go through the fights. I got an announcement to make. It's just about football. We're going to do something football related with the channel. Then we'll go into trending topics, and then we'll just call it a night, call it an evening. First fight of the night. This is interesting. This new UFC website format. I don't know what you think. I don't like this. Okay. So we click it, right? And it's just not giving you, it's giving you the tail of the take, but it's not really giving you any stats beyond the tail of the take. That's kind of interesting, isn't it? But anyways, we've got Youssef Zalal taking on Damon Blackshear. Youssef Zalal, 10-5. Damon Blackshear, 12-4. We can see it there. I don't need to fucking read that out loud. 3-fight win streak for Youssef. 3-3 in the UFC. Sorry, 3-fight losing streak. He's 3-3 in the UFC. Tough opponents, though. Sean Woodson, Ilya Topura, Suwoo Chu, Damon Blackshear. He's making his UFC debut. I think in this fight, stylistically, I think a grappling affair would favor... Oh, here we go. There's these little options here. So I think a grappling affair would for sure be in favor of Damon Blackshear making his debut. I think... Ooh, there's a little hair on the screen. I wonder if you could have seen that. Damon Blackshear making his debut. Youssef Zalal. I mean, he looks decent on the feet. He's a good striker. He hasn't displayed the best takedown defense, like you can see there. We'll go to Draftkings to get our odds. Interesting format from the UFC website. Switched it up a little bit. I'm not a fan yet, but like most things, it'll probably, I'll get used to it and then they'll change it again. But on the money line, I think this fight, like Youssef's lost to really, really good competition. He's going to be, I think, a little bit quicker. I think he's just going to be better in the stand-up department. So for that reason, I'm rolling with Youssef Zalal on the money line in this one. Honestly, it is a tough fight. Probably, if you're going to bet on this one, I wouldn't hang a lot of money on it. I don't know if I wouldn't include it in any of my parlays. If you want, you can follow me on Twitter. I think it's in the video description. But I will for sure post some pics tomorrow to Twitter. Yeah, I like Yusuf Zalal. If I had to guess, I'm gonna guess that Vegas likes this to go the distance, and they do at -190. Yeah, I think we're looking at like a point win for Yusuf Zalal, or just like a dominating control, like heavy approach from Damon Blackshear in this fight. So as far as the winning method, if we're looking at props here, I like the decision for both fighters. So does Vegas. The decision at -190. I don't know. I think you're just better off going with Yusuf Zalal, getting better odds, getting the more experienced fighter who's had 6 fights. And, like, John Woodson's good, and Topura's good. The dude's tough, no doubt about it. I made margaritas tonight, and yeah, they're good, but strong. Jason Witt taking on Josh Quinlan in the next fight. This was a fight that was supposed to happen last week, and like we said in the breakdown, so Josh Quinlan, just to circle back, the fight didn't happen last week in Vegas because he tested a little positive for some PEDs, and so they and it wasn't much, but if you look at his fight history, it was like a no contest in the Contender Series, even though he had a knockout, just because he tested positive for something. So it was like 10 months ago, 11 months ago. Now he's fighting against Jason Witt. Picograms, I think, is what we're dealing with here. But they were able to sanction the fight in San Diego and not Vegas. Yeah, this is more of a situation where I'm kind of fading Jason Witt. He's 3-3 in the UFC. All 3 of his losses are KOs. I think he should look to wrestle in this one. The issue is Josh Quinlan. He just looks pretty good as a fighter. I mean, you're like looking for your betting opportunities as fights come around, and like this was one that we circled last week that we really liked. I did see. I know one of my friends was going with Jason Witt. Similar to why we picked what's his face. Yusuf Zalal, like similar reasons to picking him, veteran going up against someone making their debut. I just think Josh Quinlan's, he looked pretty good, pretty talented, probably could, and I think the odds makers would agree, probably could be live for a knockout. Let's see what the odds makers think. Oh yeah, let's read the odds. So Quinlan's heavy favorite, -280. He was -245 last week, so it's swung even more in his favor. Probably because he's, testing positive for PEDs and they're still fighting. Let's see, fight to go the distance. Yeah, they don't like it to go the distance. They probably like the Quinlan KO at +100. Yeah. I mean, all through, like, it's just a fact. Jason Witt, he could get knocked out. I want to look up maybe the numbers on that and give that to you. Jason Witt, 8 losses, 6 knockouts, and all 3 of his losses in the UFC were knockouts. So I think it's very possible Jason Witt gets knocked out in this fight. I'm rolling with Josh Quinlan. Probably gonna, I don't know. You can't put him in, like, you don't want to be risking a lot of money on someone making their UFC debut. But I might put him into, for sure, a round robin. I think he's I think he's probably going to win. If I'm looking to bet on him, maybe I do the KO just to risk less and win more. What's the KO decision? That's minus 190. That's not bad. That's better than... I don't think Josh Quinlan wants to wrestle on this, and probably is not going to find himself in a position for a submission. Next fight, we've got Odie Osborne taking on Tyson Nam. Odie Osborne, 2-fight win streak. Tyson Nam, 1-fight win streak. He's 2-3 in the UFC. His losses are to really good fighters. Matt Schnell, Kai Kara France, Sergio Pettis. But he is getting older. Odie Osborne is the younger fighter in this one. Just has better, he's going to have the reach advantage. He's going to have the leg reach advantage. In the weigh-ins, he looks taller. And he's super talented, good jiu-jitsu, good stand-up. He's had tough fights himself against Kelleher, Manel Cape, Vergara. Yeah, Vergara. Good stand-up, like I said. I'm going to roll with Odie Osborne in this. If I had to pick a method of victory, I think I'm going to just go money line on this one. I feel confident putting him in like a round robin. Yeah, I would... Odie Osborne, how many knockout wins does he have, or finishes does he have out of 11? 9 out of 11. 5 KOs, 4 submissions. Nam, 3 KO losses. But he's been in there with some tough fighters. Split decision loss to Matt Schnell. Matt Schnell's tough. Decision against Kai Kara France. Kai Kara's putting people away. So, he's a tough fighter in his own right. So, I think maybe there's a little bit of value on the fight to go the distance. I think Odie's also got to be, careful in this fight. But I'm rolling with Odie Osborne. I kind of like the decision. Like, I think there's just value on that compared to the KO for Odie, but I don't know. He's only got, out of his 12 losses, 3 KO losses, 9 decision losses, 7 and 9 in decisions. Just finds himself in that position a lot. So I think that decision at plus 120, fight to go the distance at plus 120, I think I like that a little bit. Let's see. Next fight of the night, we've got Gabriel Benitez taking on Charlie Ontiveros. Gabriel Benitez, 2-fight losing streak, 1-4 in his last 5. He's been losing, really good resume, just bad results. Taking on Charlie Ontiveros, 0-2 in the UFC. Both losses have come via KO. Brings a karate approach. I think Gabriel Benitez should win this one. I kind of like this one to end inside the distance. More than, and you'll see why when we see Gabriel's odds here. Minus 330. Yeah, okay. Why aren't there, So I'm not sure why there aren't odds here, but I kind of like this one to end inside the distance. I'm not sure why I can't bet on anything except for money line. But inside the distance, I might put that in a round robin, especially if it's better odds than the minus 335 for Gabriel Benitez. I just think that's the smart bet for a guy who's 1-4 in his last 5. I just, anything can happen in a fight. But but I do think Gabriel's capable of putting away Charlie. I think Charlie, with this crazy karate approach, maybe he's capable of swinging up a kick at his head and ending it, getting the stoppage victory for himself. So Cynthia Calvillo taking on Nina Nunez. Cynthia Calvillo 9-4-1. Nina Nunez 10-7. Let's get to this breakdown page. Calvillo 3-fight losing streak. Very good resume. Grappler, jiu-jitsu. Nina Nunez 2-fight losing streak. Definitely more of the stand-up fighter. Yeah, gonna be the more proficient striker in this fight for sure. I think Cynthia Calvillo's capable of winning this fight, turning it into a grappling match, taking down Nina Nunez, getting the decision. I think the decision is likely in this fight. Last week, I know I predicted some decisions, and I even posted those picks, like some decision picks, and obviously all the fights didn't go to the distance. You know what I mean? They were all ended inside the distance, and yeah, I think this one's going the distance. Calvillo -195. That's fair. And we did just see Nina Nunez. I think she lost to Mackenzie Dern. Just kind of got grappled. So Calvillo has the tools to go in there, grapple with her, and win this fight. Fight props, yeah, they like it to go the distance at -190. I'm sure they like the decision for both of these girls. Yeah, decision. I think the decision is likely. Maybe I would do, that in a round robin. I think Calvillo, as long as she's getting takedowns, she's gonna win that fight. I'm confident in that. So I like her on the money line. And I like the decision in all likelihood. Just like grappling kind of clinic. Martin Boudet taking on Lucas Brzeski. Martin Boudet's so this is gonna be an easy breakdown. Like, he's just bigger. We can see the weight difference posted here. Obviously, he's got to make like 265, but he's just the bigger fighter heading into this. Not sure exactly where Lucas is gonna beat this guy. Martin Boudet does a good job of using his body, leaning on fighters, making the fight super physical. If Lucas, I guess, can point strike with this guy and win in that manner, good for him, but he's going to have to be moving around like crazy. Yeah, just much smaller in this fight. So going with Martin Boudet. Not going to really, I'm curious what Vegas says as far as the result, -285. So they don't think this one's going the distance. One knockout loss for Lucas. That's his one loss. Martin Boudet, his one loss was a decision in his second fight. Yeah, I mean, I think it could end inside the distance for sure. Martin Boudet KO, decision +300. KO decision -175 compared to -280. Are you serious? Really? So we could get Boudet on the KO or decision at -175 instead of -285? I kind of like that. I like that a lot, I think. That value. Now, if I'm going to parlay Martin Boudet, maybe I'm just going with the money line. But as far as the round robin bet, I think I like that a lot. The KO decision result. Next fight, we've got Angela Hill taking on Lupi Godinez. Angela Hill, just like, she's in pretty good fights typically. She's on a 3-fight losing streak. Yeah, I don't know. She's just like, I wonder if she's gonna get on another winning streak eventually here. You know, she has been in some really good fights lately, but I think Lupi Godinez and her approach, like, Lupi's gonna have to for sure wrestle in this. Let's go to grappling here. Like, Lupi's gonna have to grapple. She's not gonna be able to, I don't think, hang with Angela on the feet, but I think I like watching her. She's very persistent in the takedowns, just very competitive. I think if it does go to a decision and the fight primarily plays out on the feet, like, Angela Hill is going to have a really good shot of winning this fight. But yeah, Lupi just seems like a really, you know, she seems pretty talented. Her only loss that I saw, she went up in weight and just wasn't able to really wrestle with a heavier girl. And yeah, I like her in this fight on the money line, minus 325 now. It's crazy. Fight to go the distance, yes. I mean, I think if Angela Hill wins, it's going to be a decision on striking. I think if Lupi Godinez wins, it's probably going to be grappling. Maybe the submission. There's some value on that, but we'd have to check the numbers on Angela Hill. Ooh, that's sour. 2 submission losses, 10 decision losses. Wow. Godinez only 2 decision losses. Yeah, so maybe just because she's gonna be grappling a lot, and she is persistent, but she's typically in top control. Check this. Yeah, submission average. She doesn't do them that often. Yeah, that probably is a little too risky. Going for the submission, but maybe the submission, Lupi Godinez submission decision, minus 280, slight improvement. I don't think she's going to knock out Angela Hill. But yeah, I like Lupi Godinez a lot in that fight. Bruno Silva taking on Gerald Meerschaert. Bruno Silva is probably gonna win this one pretty easily and probably early, in my opinion. Gerald Meerschaert, if he finds the back of Bruno Silva, he could for sure get a submission win, but I think Bruno Silva is just gonna beat him up pretty bad on the feet. If he does go to the mat, he's gonna be in top control. Beat him up with ground and pound. I like Bruno Silva in this. You know, if Gerald Meerschaert does get that submission win, so be it. But I would be willing to throw Bruno Silva into some parlays. Fight to go the distance, no. I would say Silva KO is what's going to be most likely. Yeah, minus 150 for Silva KO. Maybe under fight parlays, like, it might be fun to do like Bruno Silva and under a round and a half. Yeah, I just think Gerald's a little one-dimensional. You know, if he's not grappling and specifically getting to the back of his opponent, like, I just don't know how he's gonna beat a guy like Bruno Silva. So I like Bruno Silva a lot in this fight. Bruno Silva Sorry, an under. Where's that? 1.5 minus 110. Maybe something like that. I think for parlays, I'm just going with the money line. There's one for you, minus 120. I mean, we're just taking a lot of favorites right now. To be honest, I don't know if I have an underdog. We'll see. I kind of like a couple underdogs in like the co-main and main, but I don't think I'm picking them. Next fight of the night, we've got Priscilla Cachoeira taking on Ariana Lipski. Priscilla Cachoeira, let's just go to the strikes here. Absorbs a lot of damage, 7.91 strikes per minute. And it's like, I don't know what the strategy is. It's like you're super tough, but just to absorb damage like that and concede for sure the first round and oftentimes the second round, it just puts you in a bad position, I think, as a fighter. I think her last win was against like Loma Lukbumi or something. Yeah, she is on a 1-fight win streak. Zombie Girl's her nickname, and it's a good nickname. Ariana Lipski, they were supposed to fight last week. I'm not sure what happened in this one, but Lipski heading into this, she's on a 1-fight win streak. I think she's capable of winning 2 rounds for sure, the first 2 rounds, and then surviving the third round and probably capable of winning that round even. Yeah, Cachoeira kind of needs a specific opponent, and I think Lipski's punches are strong enough to actually deter Priscilla a little bit. So I like Lipski a lot on the money line. Let's see. I'm sure she's the favorite. Yeah, minus 200. It's just like, if one of the fighters is going to probably be up 2-0 heading into that third round, you got to like Lipski. Cachoeira, I just wanted to pull up some stats on her. 2 submission losses, 2 decision losses. So even though she absorbs a lot of damage, really isn't getting knocked out. Lipski, hard puncher, like her a lot. I would say the odds makers like this one to go to the distance just because of the opponent. Yeah, minus 150. Probably the decision for Lipski is what they like. Yeah. I'll probably just do Lipski on the money line, to be honest. Maybe Lipski and over a round and a half, if that's minus 135. Wouldn't do that in a parlay. Wouldn't do the minus 135 in a parlay, but probably would consider Lipski in a parlay. Next fight, we've got Devin Clark taking on Azamat Murzakanov. Azamat heading into this matchup, good stand-up. Should be much better than Devin Clark in the stand-up department. In my opinion, grappling-wise, I think that's where Devin Clark might hold the advantage. Yeah, I think it's just whoever kind of has their game plan play out the way they want it to, they're going to win this fight. So if it's a wrestling match and Devin Clark's able to hit takedowns on a consistent basis, he's going to win this fight. If it's fought standing up, Azamat's stuffing the takedowns, I think he's going to win this fight pretty decisively and maybe even hurt Devin Clark. Just can't get taken down for sure in this fight. As far as their... Yeah, this is a light heavyweight bout. Okay. As far as their likelihood to go the distance, I think the odds makers probably are going to say this one doesn't make the distance. Doesn't make it the distance. That's what I would say. Minus 175. Yeah. Winning method, Azamat, KO. I mean, if you're doing the KO, do you just do it early for Azamat? He did have a round 3 flying knee his last fight, but otherwise, a couple first round KOs. Man, that flying knee I forgot about that. That might deter a grappling approach from Devin Clark. Yeah, I like Azamat in this a lot. Minus 150. He's just got to be able to avoid the grappling, you know? I think he could knock him out. And I think if he did it, he could do it early. It might be... Let me think. And look at some of these fights. Bruno Silva, I would consider, doing a round 1 wager. Where do you find those fight parlays? I would consider like Azamat doing that. Sometimes it's fun to find like a couple ridiculous parlays and just don't do much on it. Let me see here. This is irresponsible. Let me see here. Fight parlays. Bruno Silva. Here we go. Just to find like, yeah, plus 860. I don't know. It's just fun to find stupid parlays like that. I think that could happen. I think Quinlan is another guy who could potentially get a KO. So, alright, that's pretty irresponsible to just be clicking around on the screen like that. Let's get back just, not losing. That's the goal. Azamat, like Azamat here. I think the safe bet is just money line. As far as the winning method, I mean, yeah, if Devin Clark wins this, it's going to be a decision. So you could say like, you can't do KO decision minus 750. Yeah, just go with whoever you like on the money line. I think Azamat could end it inside the distance and probably will, but I don't feel comfortable. I don't think even considering that in like a round robin. Next fight, we've got Yasmin Yakarai taking on Yasmin Lucindo. Yasmin heading into... Both are making their debut. Yasmin over here on the left in the green. She's definitely, I think, going to be the better striker in this fight. Lucindo on the right-hand side there, she's going to hold a grappling advantage in this fight. I think if the fight plays out on the feet, it's going to favor the girl in the green here a lot. I don't know how much grappling Lucindo is going to be able to implement in this fight. I think if she can make it dirty, test the cardio of Yakarai, and really push the pace of this fight and keep constant pressure and keep Yasmin on her back heel, she could for sure win a decision. But Yakarai, I think on the left, is the person to go with on the money line for the prediction. Again, I gotta make a prediction, right, for the show, but kind of a risky fight. Kind of crazy this Jasmine's at minus 205 as well. I would say the odds makers do like this one to go the distance, but yeah, just with a couple of really green fighters, anything could happen. Mistakes could be made. And if you don't bet on this, you will not make a mistake. I think this is a fight to... Maybe I would put Yasmin in a round robin, but it's a good fight to maybe avoid, just with fighters making their debut. Next fight, we've got Nate Landwehr taking on David Onama. I like watching Nate Landwehr. He's kind of intense. He's tough. Good cardio. He is 2-2 in the UFC. If we're looking at, we pointed it out with Cachoeira. He absorbs a decent amount of strikes too. I think Nate Landwehr, I wonder if he can grapple in this. I think he would hold a grappling advantage, but I'm not entirely sure about that. David Onama is a good fighter. I think he's the heavy favorite in this fight. I was kind of back and forth on this one, but I think I'm going to settle on Onama. It was what Nate Landwehr did against Ludovit Klein. That was impressive. And Klein looked great in his last fight. He got the round 3 Anaconda choke, just beat him up, wore on him. He has had couple rough KOs, but then he's beat, Klein's a tough win. Darren Elkins, that's not maybe a tough win because he could get beat up. But he's always there in your face. Herbert Burns, that's not great. Erosa, he's okay. I think Onama's just the better fighter. Yeah, he lost to Mason Jones in his debut. Mason Jones is very good though. Terrific grappler. But he lost his fight to Ludovit Klein. That's interesting. I forgot that. Ludovit Klein beat Mason Jones. Landwehr beat Ludovit Klein. Onama lost to Mason Jones. Interesting. I think I'm for sure not putting this minus 345. We're rolling with David Onama on the money line. I'm not putting this in any parlay. As far as the result that I like in this fight, 4 losses for Nate Landwehr, 2 KO losses, both in the UFC. Onama does have pretty dynamic striking. I would say they don't like this one to go the distance. Yeah, no at minus 225. Winning method, I'd have to say it's the Onama, potentially the Onama KO. I think he's just, but I don't know. That's a pretty risky bet. What's Onama KO decision? Minus 200. That's not bad. I think Onama wants this to play out on the feet. Just if Landwehr's going to win this, he's going to wear on Onama. Similar to what he did with Ludovit Klein, and then he'd probably put it away later, but yeah, this is one, right now in this moment, I'm just, probably avoiding putting money on. I was back and forth on it. I kind of like the value on Nate Landwehr at plus 285. Is there a crazy parlay for him? Fight parlay for Landwehr? Nate Landwehr and over. Plus 330. I don't know if I like that. I don't know. I like the value on Landwehr, but I think Onama's the more talented stand-up striker, and I think that's where this fight's probably going to play out. And then we've got the main event. We've got Marlon Vera taking on Dominic Cruz. Marlon Vera's been a lot of fun to watch lately. Just really good fighter. Searches for the finish. Has a lot of different tools. we've seen a lot of improvement from him. If we're drawing a career arc similarity, like he's not Charles Oliveira, but he's a guy who's similar to Charles, has been around for a while, and we've seen him improve tremendously in the UFC, just in action. Dominic Cruz, he's great experience, been around for a long time. I think Marlon Vera has more fights in the UFC though than Dominic Cruz, and he started after him, like maybe 3 years after him, but he's just been more active. Dominic has had injury issues. I'm a big fan of both of these fighters. I think Dominic Cruz brings a unique approach with the movement and the striking and the setups. The footwork is interesting. Cheeto, on the other hand, definitely more of the stationary fighter with a guard up, looking to counter. Both fighters, terrific cardio. This should be a really entertaining fight. I think we've seen Dominic Cruz slow down a little bit. Got clipped by Pedro Munoz. Survived, ended up winning that fight, but did get clipped. I want to mention that. Got KO'd by Henry Cejudo. Got KO'd by Cody Garbrandt. I think he slowed up a little bit, or maybe he's just gotten unlucky a little bit with some really hard strikers, really tough punchers. I think he'll look really good early in this fight against Marlon Vera. I think Marlon Vera is the fighter I'm rolling with on the money line, and who I'll probably wager on tomorrow. But you're potentially looking at being down 0 rounds to 2 heading into the third round of a 5-round fight with Marlon Vera. So that's a little bit rough, but we saw him get outstruck in a lot of different fights. Rob Font got outstruck in that fight, but ended up, dishing out more damage. Rob Font was pretty beat up in that fight, and even though he landed more significant strikes, Vera just had his guard up and, was just eating everything. And then Frankie Edgar. Frankie was winning that fight, arguably. I think he was. And then he just got caught by that front kick. I think Dominic Cruz could potentially get caught in this fight. I think especially with those kind of ducks that he does. And to me, I don't think he is. He's obviously very good at what he does, but he's super unorthodox, and he seems almost like off balance in certain situations. But it's part of what's interesting about his approach. I think Marlon Vera is just gonna probably win this one. I would say they don't like this one to go the distance, but I'm not sure. They do. So a decision is what Vegas likes at -190. I kind of like the Marlon Vera KO, but I see why it would be the decision. I think if Garbrandt, Cejudo, and Munoz hit him hard. He didn't knock him out, but he hit him hard. I think Vera could find that shot at +300. I think he could find that. Fight parlays. You know, maybe Vera and over. I don't know. It's tough. It's tough. I'm rolling with Vera on the money line. Minus 215. Might sprinkle a little bit on this KO here at plus 300. I think he could clip Cruz and he could hurt Cruz. Especially with his stationary approach, and Cruz, like, he's very good at it, like I said, but when you jump, like, even in all sports, as soon as you get up in the air, and like, I don't love when fighters like bounce around a ton. As soon as you get up in the air, like, you're going wherever you're going, if that makes sense. So if you like are Stephen Thompson and you rock back and forth on your feet, you're just kind of allowing fighters to make reads against you and pick up that movement and understand that because you're in the air, you're not going to be able to. You can't like change directions midair. You can't. I don't know. I just don't love the idea of fighters jumping up in the air, especially against a guy like Chito Vera. I think it's a recipe for disaster. I wanted to announce, like, I don't know, like, football this year. Last year, I did a Sunday show where I was doing some football picks and predictions. I just wasn't doing a good job at it. So I think I'm gonna try it again this year, but put a little more effort into making my picks and predictions. I think we'll do like the same format, the confidence format. I also would love to start a daily fantasy league, like a weekly one in Draftkings. So part of the like shitty part about DraftKings FanDuel is like there's algorithms and people out there who are just like, you know, they're taking crazy lineups and there's people with a lot of money entering a lot of different entries into certain contests. And so it's just, I don't know, it can be difficult to win those tournaments. They're very fun. But if we got together like a group, I mean, it could be however large we want it to be, but just a group of people who are making picks on behalf of themselves, I think it could be very fair, competitive, fun. Do a small amount of money. You don't have to commit to it for the whole season too, is the other fun part. Just shoot me a note if you want to join that. So yeah, I think we're gonna do these football shows probably like on Sundays, Sunday mornings again, early in the morning, maybe like 10 a.m. or something. That's not early, but it allows me to get up, go out to breakfast if I want to do that, have a little bit of fun. So let's get into trending topics. Freaking Fernando Tatis Jr. PEDs. Tested positive. 80 game suspension. Man, I just put a little money on the Padres to win the World Series at plus 1400 too. They do have Juan Soto though. They do have a really good lineup, but yeah, it was like they're amazing and they're gonna get Tatis back, but what's Clostable? He took it to treat ringworm. Alright, who is Teddy Ray? Oh, he died? I don't know who he is. Zach Wilson. for the Jets is trending. Yeah, we've got some football games going on. Let's do news. Atlanta area news broadcasts explained how wastewater is being tested to understand the spread of monkeypox, fact checkers say. Okay. Oh, I want to sorry. So there was, earlier in the week, there was a facility in Virginia. Yeah, here's the Envigo RMS LLC. Like, all they got was fined or sued. I mean, in July, Envigo settled with the government without paying any fines. Like, okay, so they were illegally breeding beagles and they were testing drugs on them. So now there's a lot of beagles that are up for adoption right now. You could adopt a beagle. I think that's pretty cool. Yeah, but they just weren't treating the animals right either. So I don't know. Dog testing is legal for like drug companies. Is drug testing dogs legal? On average, more than 60,000 dogs are used in experiments each year. In 2021, laboratories reported having 43,685 dogs in their possession. According to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, the vast majority of these dogs were used in experiments. Approximately 3,000 were used for breeding or were held but not used in experiments in 2021. Tens of thousands of additional dogs destined for labs are born at breeding facilities every year. More than 250 institutions in the United States report using dogs in experiments each year, including chemical, pesticide, and drug companies, as well as laboratories that carry out dog tests for these companies. Public and private universities, community and technical schools, government-owned facilities, veteran affairs facilities, and hospitals. Charles River Laboratories. This is in Illinois. I don't know. I guess I didn't realize that was like legal or going on. Here's in Vigo here. For Indianapolis, though. I don't know. That's kind of messed up. All right. 3 ways Inflation Reduction Act would help fight climate change. So, I mean, the Federal Reserve controls, like, they are in charge of monetary policy, so they're the ones, like, obviously raising interest rates to lessen inflation. So, I don't think any voting act would really have any bearing on inflation. But I think that's just a fact too. I don't think it's an opinion. But what might be an opinion is the fact I don't know how a bill for like an entity that's not the Federal Reserve can affect inflation unless it's less spending, right? Unless it's less spending by the federal government, then maybe like that can make a little bit of sense. Um, I think that would help, but I don't think that's the case. Fox News airs doctored photo of Trump raid judge with Ghislaine Maxwell. I do think the judge is associated with Are you kidding me? Did they put that on Fox? What? That's pretty funny. But yeah, that's pretty negligent too. It could have been just like obviously a joke made at the expense of this judge who has been tied to Epstein, but I don't I really don't know what to like speculate or think about that. But yeah, I mean, it would be cool if the FBI like came out and said what they like found, right? Um, I'd be interested like what the warrant was specifically for. If it was just documents, like what specific documents? It just seems really odd and strange. The Arctic is heating up much faster than we previously thought. Kilmeade. What is that? Oh, for posting that picture. Here's why the McDonald's cheeseburger got more expensive in the UK. Inflation. Okay, this isn't very entertaining. What's happening in sports? Yeah, I think we're about done. We're about done with the show here. I think we ran out of trending topics, and we're gonna call it a night. If you want, please feel free to shoot me a follow on Twitter. I'll follow you back, and I'll post some pics on there tomorrow, probably. I think I'm gonna do some kayaking tomorrow, which I'm excited about. Fox River stanky, but I think it'll be a lot of fun. Gonna do that tomorrow, so I'm looking forward to it. Probably some yard work. Fights are on a little bit earlier tomorrow, which is kind of nice too. So the fights won't end at like after 11 o'clock. It'll be closer to 9, I think, tomorrow that they end, which is solid. Thanks, San Diego. Other than that, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, you get notified when I go live. Would appreciate it if you like the video. Have a great weekend, everyone, and I'll talk to you next Friday. See ya.